What's going on, everybody? It's Patrick Dang here. Now in this video, we are going to answering the question, can money make you happy? Now, before we go ahead and get started, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications if you want to see more videos like this. And if you want to take your sales game to the next level, make sure to check out my masterclass, saleslegacy.com. Link is also in the description, and let's dive in. Now, to give you context, I'm going to give you my perspective from when I was in college, not making any money, getting a little bit of allowance from my parents, to making six figures right out of college when I worked at Oracle, and then to starting my own business, and on and on and on, right? And so obviously there are going to be different levels of income along the way, from nothing to something, and to even having employees and being able to buy time and things like that. So I'll give you my personal take on whether or not money actually makes me happy. Let's talk about life pre-money, right? So let's say when I was in university, when I had, just random off jobs and like internships that paid a little bit, not crazy amount or anything, but it's just like a little bit. During that time, was I happy? I would say so, yes. I was pretty happy with my life back then, and it wasn't really money that made my life better. As long as I had money for food, gas, hang out with my friends on the weekends and stuff like that, especially during college, right? I was good. I never felt like having more money really made a difference, because I was never the type to, let's say, like buy a bottle at a club or buy like really expensive like watches and stuff like that. Even back then, as long as I can kind of just do whatever I want to do, and most of the things I did want to do, hang out with friends, socialize and stuff like that, do business kind of things, didn't necessarily require money off the bat. I was even happy before then. And all the little ventures I tried in the past, there were always things that required no money to start. It just required my time to do something. Even for like business things, having a lot of money to start was never even like a thought in my mind. It was always like, I know how to work. I can start from zero. So as long as I can try and as long as I can live, then I am good to go. Now, because I was already happy to begin with, does money make you happy? Like when you have money? Well, as long as you sustain it, then it's cool, right? I'll give you my experience. When I started working sales, for example, I would say it was a bit of a grind working at Oracle. It was actually a great experience that really pushed my career to the next level. And I'm pretty grateful for it because it allowed so many opportunities, years down the line. But at the same time, because I tried really hard to learn the skill set of selling, my social life took a deep nosedive. I wasn't dating. I wasn't really going out that much. I still was going out once in a while, but like, it just wasn't quite the same. And then even when I was out, there's always work on the back of your mind, right? And so during that time, I wouldn't necessarily say I was happy with my day to day, but I was happy that I was able to pursue a career I was passionate about. So I guess you can be kind of happy in one part of your life and not happy in the other, right? Like my social life and all these things and my day-to-day living pretty much sucked, I would say. But then the amount of growth I was getting and the amount of success that I was having in my career, that was actually very rewarding. So I looked at it like a temporary trade-off. So I was like, all right, let me just grind this out for a year or two, get as far as possible, and then let me reevaluate. That's pretty much like to sum up my experience in like Silicon Valley and San Francisco doing tech sales. It was a great learning experience, but it wasn't really a great day-to-day lifestyle for me, at least. And I think after my first year at Oracle, when I joined a startup after that, then I started to have more free time because it wasn't as grindy and I already developed the skills of selling. So it's actually the beginning that's the hardest. And then I basically skipped a couple years of my career, essentially like just jumped the ladder and then just moved up really fast. And then when I got to that point and I knew how to sell, it was a different story where I had more time. But at the same time, I wasn't really feeling San Francisco. So basically I just left everything and moved to Thailand and started doing online business stuff. When I moved to Thailand after San Francisco, for a period of time, I was not making any money. So I was just living off of savings, essentially burning money every month. But I would say I was happier burning money in a foreign country, being able to be more free than I was making money in a city I didn't particularly want to live at that time. A question that people might have is that, is it worth it to sacrifice time for money? Personally, for me, the way I look at things is that when I was doing sales, I didn't particularly do it for money. I was doing it more for a skill set, the skill set that I can use to one day start my own business. Because at that time, I realized that if I learned how to sell, technically, I can sell any product or service. So if I had that skill set, I'll be good for life. So it wasn't necessarily about how much money I was making. I would be okay with walking away with zero and having the skill set to sell, because I know I can use that to actually do something with that, right? So it's not about the money, it's about the skill. It's not really fair to say that I sacrifice time for money, especially with taxes in California. They're literally taking like half of your money. So, if you make 100K, you're making 50K, right? And then after like rent and everything, like what are you really making? It's more about the skill set that you gain, which will open up future opportunities in the future, right? because I think for most people in America, and this is just me from my personal experience, I'm not saying everyone has to agree, but if you're making like 8K a month, which is definitely above average in America, I would say like you kind of have everything you need to be happy. You can work a regular job, doing something you really love, making a contribution in life, and like making 8K a month, and you'd be pretty good, right? You have time for family, time for kids, time for hobbies, everything. For a lot of people, that is the ideal life. I think you have to be a little different to want to like make a lot, because it's like you have to sacrifice a lot, whether it's gaining more skill sets or doing things maybe you're not comfortable with, expanding and growing your mindset, and which I'm personally like that as well. So in a way, I'm kind of crazy. But yeah, I think it just depends on the person, right? I think for me, what I personally go for is not necessarily how much money I make. And although there are goals and these are ways like people keep score and stuff like that, and it also is an indicator of how well you're doing and how much value you're bringing. But even with that said, I go for more of how many people am I helping? How many people am I inspiring? Am I like, touching the lives of many around the world? And are they making some kind of impact, some kind of change in their life based on something I said in a video? That's actually more important to me. Because for me, as long as I have the ability to pursue that and make an impact in some way in what I feel is positive, that's actually what makes me happy, not necessarily the end monetary goal. Although I do realize the more money you have, the more people you can hire, the higher quality talent you can recruit. I mean, there's just so much more opportunities that you can do. You can also invest in different businesses that also have the same ethos as you, right? You don't even know how far that will scale. So money is more like a tool to accomplish a goal. And then the goal for me is to inspire others. So as long as I have, whether it's a small scale or a large scale, I think my happiness is kind of the same. But of course, as human beings, we always want to kind of play as big as possible. It's also the fun of the game for me as well, like the game of business, essentially. One of the biggest things that I've realized in my career is that investing in yourself and learning new skills is the most important thing. Whether it's reading books, watching YouTube videos, watching interviews of different founders to see how they think, taking online courses, getting coaching. There's so many ways to learn. You have to find one that works for you. I would say if you're in the beginning stages, invest in yourself, whatever that looks like. Sometimes it's literally hiring a personal trainer or something like that because you want to get fit. And then that disciplined mindset rolls into your business life, right? There's so many different ways to spin it, but invest in yourself in any way you can that will kind of improve yourself, right? And so that's also part of the reason for why I created Sales Legacy. Yes, it is a course, but at the same time, it's everything that I've learned over my career in sales, whether it's working at Oracle in Silicon Valley to start my own business and things like that. It's really just like a very simple, easy way to learn sales from start to finish, from sales prospecting, pitching, and closing over the phone. So if you want to check that out and you want to invest in yourself and you learn the skill set of selling, definitely highly recommend it. I got a free training, completely free, if you want to just like see what it's all about at saleslegacy.com. Link is also in the description. So with that said, that's everything we got to cover for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next one.